Hi, everybody. My name is Mike. I'm content manager here at Fieldcode, and I'm going to go over the release from last Thursday, 30th of January. So we'll start at the top. AI search. You may have noticed we have a new search bar up here in Workplace as well as Admin Panel. When you click on that button now, you get a new search window. This is our AI search. It searches through our manual and our website to provide you all the answers you'll need for all your questions. Let's just go over the form real quick. So you can drag this form around, you can stretch it out. You have a link directly to the manual from here now, as well as other places, but here you can get directly to the manual by clicking on that. And as you can drag it around, you can stretch it out. Now let's ask some questions real quick. I have some prepared here. It's pretty quick. We look forward to you guys playing with it, providing your feedback on different results and whatnot that you may come across. Please use it hard, and have fun with it. So you see, it just provides how to add an engineer to a dispatch group. It just goes through, grabs information from our manual, and then provides you a quick answer. The history is saved per session. So if you refresh the browser or log off for the day, your history is not going to be saved. You can ask as many questions as you need to. It's separate from the search in the admin panel. So you can have two different histories, one in the admin panel and one in the workplace. They're not saved. Like I said, daily, the history will go away once you log off for the day or close your browser out. So we look forward to your feedback on this. Yeah, enjoy it. Thank you. Next one, timeline customization. We've had some requests to have the ability to add more details to a ticket here when it's on a timeline. Right now, we only have the CNI visible. So what we did for you guys is we now have added some more settings here to the timeline settings here. So now you see a new section, ticket data, where you can show the CNI, the CNE, the zip, the city, company, or end user name. You can have them all on there, or you can have just one or two on there, whatever you want. It's your choice to have whatever you want on there. You can even have nothing if you wanted. So yeah, we look forward to your feedback on that as well. On to the next one. Excuse me. Dispatch group emails. So now when you make your way to the admin panel, if you go to a dispatch group now, we now have the ability to add a dispatch group email that's specific for this dispatch group. So you can add in each dispatch group its own email. In order to use this feature though, as it says here, you'll need an active SMTP configured for your whole account to be able to use this feature here. You can add the email in all your dispatch groups, one email per dispatch group. And what that allows you to do is you can now create automated actions using a new alias for that dispatch group or for the dispatch group email. So when you're creating your actions here, you now have the ability to use an alias here. We have one alias, dispatch group email. This allows you to create one automated action to use for all your different needs using the one alias for your dispatch groups. Now, the order here is if a dispatch group is found, it'll send it to dispatch group. If you are using this automated action on a dispatch group that doesn't have a dispatch group email, it's going to go back to the project email. If the project has an SMTP set up, it's going to use the project email saved under there. If it doesn't have that, it's just going to use the account SMTP configuration. So let's see this in action. I have this set up for, we'll start with content. So I just have my little flag as VIP just to trigger this email. So let's see it in action here. So we're going to go to our ticket here. So my trigger was add VIP flag. So you see my automated action GSD email was found and executed. And you can see here it was sent to Nuremberg at email because this dispatch group would be Nuremberg. So it sent it to the Nuremberg one. Now, just to see what happens when I send it to a project that doesn't have a dispatch group email, for instance, Project Blue doesn't have a dispatch group email. Now here's an interesting case here. So I have it going to Project Blue. It's not yet assigned to a dispatch group You see it could be possibly under Germany or under Stuttgart. Now, if you have the case where, let's say both these dispatch groups had dispatch group emails, which one would it send it to? Because there's two that are unassigned, so it doesn't know, the system doesn't know which dispatch group email to send to. So since it could be either one of these dispatch groups this ticket could go to, it's going to send an email. Once the dispatch group triggers, it's going to send the email to most likely the first one in the list. So it'll send it to Germany if it had a dispatch group email, just so you know how it works when it's not assigned to a single dispatch group. But in this case, it's not going to go to either one because we don't have one there. I just want to explain that to you. When there's a possible of two dispatch groups or more, it's just going to send an email to a dispatch group that belongs to that group, to that ticket. All right, so I triggered it. This one went to project because on Project Blue, I have a project SMTP set up. So it didn't send it to the dispatch group email, sent it to the project email. And now we'll test it out when neither one of those. So now when I trigger this, an email went out, but it went out to the account SMTP email. So that is the basics of this dispatch group emails. We hope that alleviates a lot of your pains when it comes to sending emails. The added advantage of this, or the main advantage of this, is that now users can, because a lot of times our users were sending out no reply at whatever.com, and people, of course, are still going to reply to no reply emails. This way, your users can actually reply back to a real email that's going to get feedback from someone. So it's a nice added benefit there. All right, so a more trickier one. We have changed the logic to the way dispatch groups assign dispatchers. So let's just go over the old way real quick. The old way was when you created a dispatch group. Actually, I'll start here. You created a dispatch group and you went here and you had this side was empty before. That meant that if this side is empty, everybody had access to the group, which and before it made sense because if you didn't have access, no single person had access, everybody had access. That was creating problems when you had it in that case where the right side was empty and you were creating users and you wanted to add an individual user to a group. You then assign that person to the group. What that would do was that then would lock that group for everybody and just have that one single user you added from the users page here. So if you added a single user here, it'd block everybody else from having access. So we changed the logic now to the following. So now every dispatch group that you create will automatically be set with this switch here. So you switch it off, you can assign individual users. By default, the switch will be on for every new group, which means that when this switch is on, everybody has access to this group. Yeah, and as you might have seen in the users page in the delivery tab, you'll see now we have this new thing where the switch is disabled and it clearly states all users have access, meaning they can all access the group and you're not allowed to assign individual users from this page to that group. Okay, so now let's see here. So my front end, my workplace, I have access to California, Germany, and Nuremberg, which shows me here. Norway is inactive, so you don't see it in the list, but I have these three active. So now I'm going to set Stuttgart active here. And you'll see just after a quick update, Stuttgart will be available as a dispatch group. I don't know why we wait for that to load. I'll show you the dispatch group here. Oops. So now you see it moved my name over here. So only I have access to this. Nobody else has access to this in my whole account, just me. So now you see here, I have Stuttgart available to me. Yeah, so that's the basics of the new logic behind dispatcher assignment. All your accounts, you should have not noticed anything change. We've updated all the accounts last week when we released it, so you shouldn't notice anything funny. All right, forms. Forms, 2 releases ago, I think we introduced grouping of filters for dispatch groups. We've now added that functionality here to forms. So now you can go to the filters page, create several filters, however you need to. Create more, and then you can group them together. If you need to group them together, you now have this feature in forms, which I think will be a great feature for all of our form builders. You can now create even more dynamic fields for your forms. All right, on that one, diagnose. We've introduced diagnose fields into field code. For now, we have a diagnose form. So if you go to create a new one, we have a new form diagnose. You can use this to integrate into your custom workflows. You'll still need to contact support if you need help building a workflow or getting this new form behind a button anywhere in your workflow. Contact support. They'll gladly help you out. What is diagnosing? Diagnosing is, at least how we imagine it, when you are, you get a ticket in that has something broken. You have a step at appointment or before appointment in your workflow. You need to call the user, see if you can't fix it remotely first. If you can fix it remotely, you diagnosed it, you fix it remotely, you diagnosed it, you couldn't fix it remotely. You still need a way to tell the engineer, hey, we tried this, this worked, we tried this didn't work, so on and so forth. So what you can do right now out of the box without having to contact us and getting anything integrated into a work form, we have those fields available to use for any of your forms. So as you see here, I have the diagnose fields here. You'll see them here on the field list here. So we have these three. These are three new fields: result, invalid, and comment. So in order for me to show you how it works, in this case, I created a custom field. Diagnose required? Yes, no, because the result field is mandatory. So in this case, I wanted an option to lock it behind true false, so I didn't have to always fill it out every time I close my form. And I also added this intervention type here below. This field's not new, it's been there, but this field is very helpful for diagnosing, because if you don't have it built in your workflow, you want to be able to change the intervention type. So if I invalidate a ticket saying, hey, we solved it remotely, we don't need to go on site, we can close it, but I want to save it as a remote intervention, a non-intervention, so I added this field in there. So let's see this in action. So we're going to go here. So we'll go right here. All right, so I want to pre-diagnose this ticket. I have no intervention step here or whatsoever here. So you can go to the edit form. At least in my case, I set up my edit form to be able to diagnose tickets beforehand. Diagnose required, yes, no. I'll say yes. User's laptop works again. Add user, restart machine. Yeah. And is this result valid or invalid? This result was the ticket. The ticket's invalid because I had fixed it remotely. So now, since I said yes, the ticket's no good no more, I'm going to set it to remote intervention. All the rest of my data is still good. I'm going to save it. And now you see my diagnosed result was added here with the result, with the comment, and the user who filled it out. The validity here is referring to the ticket is no longer valid. So at this point, I don't have my workflow built up, but you could probably then either close the ticket out yourself, but that would require some workflow changes, which I didn't do. I just want to show you that the diagnosed result does show in the intervention. If I didn't have this appointment step already set up, for instance, here, and if I hit edit and I edit diagnosis, it's automatically going to create this appointment block here with the intervention, with the diagnosed results there. Another feature rather, is that these results show up in the FMA. So if there was no diagnose, or in my case, if I put diagnose no, they would see that custom field in FMA. But if they do diagnose it and they still need to go to site, we do send this information to the FMA. So the engineer can see what we tried, what the results were, what our comments are, and they can go on and assist the user with whatever they need to get done. And we show them both below the description, but above the custom fields. So any custom fields will be below the diagnosis field. If there is no diagnosis, this will not show up in the app. All right, on to some improvements. We've added a new field here for the ticket pool, the zip code. So now you can add the zip code here in the ticket pool as a column to be able to use for your sorting needs. Last release, we introduced auto dispatching. When we introduce auto dispatching, when you turn it on, we took away the ability of drag and drop and the context menu. We brought that back. We didn't want to further hinder you when it comes to working your own tickets. So we now allow you to drag and drop even when auto dispatching is on, and it's all as well as have access to the context menu to do what you need to do for a ticket. So that feature is back when you have auto dispatch on. Let me just turn it off for now. All right, some other FMA features. Let's just real quick. Additional part fields have been added to the part section in both apps. So now order number and order number line item will be visible in the app if that field is filled out. And now we'll go to the FMA. So our FMA users will now be informed about releases directly in the app. So what we did, I can't show you when it first logs in. So basically when we have a release, on the day of release, we have a pop-up form. I can show you what that pop-up form looks like now, but let's say I just logged in for the day and there was a new release today, that pop-up would be the first thing I see. Even if I'm not logged in the app, you'll see that pop-up right away. But if you do miss that pop-up, we always have the option to get to it again. So if you go to settings in both apps, you go to the about areas, you can see we have the what's new section right here with a nice breakdown of what was added new for our users. And also what's pretty cool is you have a direct link. When you click on the learn more button, you get a direct link to the FMA release notes for the FMA directly in the FMA. So our FMA users don't have to rely on the stores or the app stores to get their notes. They will be provided directly in the app for them. Also, you may have noticed in the screen is we now have access directly to the user manual. So now the FMA users can get to user manual directly from the app as well by clicking on the user manual, and it takes them right to our manual directly to the FMA section where they can look up whatever they need to look up. And we will, as always, of course, constantly be improving the manual to help out our users understand everything they need to. So we look forward to the feedback from our FMA users as well and see how we can improve and make it better. All right, some more notable fixes and improvements. Going back to auto dispatching, we have improved some of the backend stuff for the auto dispatch or for Optimizer in general. We've reduced the dispatching time so that the solutions are dispatched faster, which then allows the system to check for changes and updates to make necessary updates to dispatch tickets. What does that mean now? That means when you turn on the auto dispatch switch, and you see here, this is going to run at 1629. It's going to run at 1629, and it's going to build up a solution and then push everything it can to the timeline. What we had done is we sped that process up. So once it starts data collection, once it starts building up the solution, it's going to do it for 15 minutes and then provide the solution, which allows the system to then be able to check. And it's going to start again after I think it's 30 minutes or 50 minutes after the solution is run. It's going to run again, check for changes. If there's changes, it's going to find those changes and run for 15 minutes and provide a solution. If there are no changes, it's going to run for 5 minutes and then close back down. And then 15 minutes later, it's going to start back up, check for solutions or check for changes. If there's nothing, it's going to close in 5 minutes. The reason why we did this was because if we had it the longer way, I think before it was quite longer than 15 minutes, changes kept coming in, it would never dispatch anything, possibly. Yeah, so we had to shorten that down, lock it up, get a solution out there, and then allow us to check the system better. So now you have better, more accurate, and much more better solutions when it comes to changes and updates to tickets. We've enhanced the dispatching rules to increase the frequency of dispatching while maintaining consistency and reliability in the optimization process. So we just updated our rules when we're looking for different changes, if we need to rerun the whole optimization or just update a ticket, so on and so forth. We've updated our rules in the back so that it can be quicker and better and more reliable for you. We've also improved the process. If you got a new dispatch group and you want to use auto dispatching, before when you came to the dispatch group here and you turn on auto dispatching and you turn it on and you saved it and you come back here and you go flip your switch, nothing was happening. It was kind of confusing. You didn't know what was going on. We've now improved that process. So, because it takes some time for the system to know, hey, this dispatch group is now a fully automated dispatching group. Do this, do that, do on and so forth. We've sped up that process. So now it's going to pick up quicker and be ready for you faster. Start using. Custom fields. Custom fields for the drop-down and check boxes. We've increased the character limit from 50 to 550. We've had some requests to increase the character size in that because we had some pretty big fields that pretty big text that needs to go into these fields. So there it is, 50 to 550. Interface monitoring. We've added a new status. So you see here this new switch here, not new switch, but new text. It used to just be blocked. Now we have display blocked and warning cues. So does that mean, no, so now not just blocked and okay status, we got now blocked, warning, and okay status. I think the issue is, even if inside, I can't show you anything because I don't have any interface set up, but inside we have our queues, and inside those queues we have separate queues. And sometimes it was showing status okay, but we had rejected queues within it. So now if there's a rejected queue, it'll be warning status. If it's completely blocked or broken queues, it'll be blocked. And if it's okay, it'll be okay. All right, just some nice little touches here. We have reduced some fields in parts section. We've reduced some fields in our shipping form. So we just got rid of redundant fields. We had some fields here, order date, promise date, some separator bar. We just removed that, cleaned up this shipping history form real quick for you. Those fields are unused anyways, and they were just didn't need to be there. So we removed them. So don't be surprised if you don't see them. And another one, we have improved the searching for general and expert. Our system had some issues with slashes and dashes. That's no longer the case when you're looking for C&E. If you have slashes and dashes in your C&E, you will find them. No longer our system is going to be confused by slashes or dashes. Same applies in general. If you're using slashes and dashes, you'll find your ticket. It's not going to break or not find it. In some cases, just won't find it. All right. Some other little noticeable fixes. We fixed the partner configuration. There's a partner configuration. You would save it, but it was throwing up the red message box like it wasn't saving, but it was saving. That's been fixed. And also we've improved the ETA delivery date not showing correctly in the customer portal. So the customer portal was showing differently than what we had in Workplace. That's no longer the case. So the customer portal is going to show the same data we have in the Workplace. So yeah, I think that's it for this release.